Welcome back, film fans, to another Blu-ray slash 4K pickup, and this is going to be for the month of July. So I have a ton of movies, as you can tell by the thumbnail, so let's just get right into it, and we're going to start with Sunset Boulevard. Sunset Boulevard is one of the most classic movies of all time that everyone loves, everybody knows, and it's a movie that you just have to have in the collection, because if I didn't, I'd be a fake movie fan. Next up is Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams. This is a movie that I feel like everyone has seen at this point and is always like, Brad, how come you haven't seen Mrs. Doubtfire? And I just tell them, well, I don't know, I just haven't seen it. So now that I finally have the movie, I should be able to watch this at some point this year and maybe make a video about it my first time watching it. I don't know. So yeah, the next classic movie that I got is Chinatown with Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. This is a classic neo-noir film from the 1970s that is a masterpiece and a must-watch film. I have only seen this film once in my lifetime, and I think it's just a damn shame because this movie is so magnificent, and I still remember so many of the key elements to this movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Next up, I got Pan's Labyrinth on the 50% Barnes & Noble Criterion sale. Now, I did originally have the Pan's Labyrinth on 4K, but I heard that the Blu-ray, which was supervised by Guillermo del Toro, is the correct version of this film, and it's a Criterion. It's got all the special features in it, and I want the movie that is the most accurate to Guillermo del Toro's vision. Next up, I got Phantom Thread, that is directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. This is a phenomenal movie that is not going to be for everybody because of its dark, very slow nature, but it is such a great slow burn with the last and final performance of Daniel Day-Lewis before he retired, in which he was phenomenal in this film. If you haven't seen this movie already, I would highly suggest it because Paul Thomas Anderson is one of my favorite directors of all time. The next pick is a movie that I got as a Disney Insider Mystery Blu-ray that I had points for that I was able to use, and so they sent me A Preacher's Wife. Yeah, I never heard of this movie. It's got Denzel, Whitney Houston. Seems like it's got a pretty good cast. It is made by Touchstone Pictures, which Disney pretty much owns because it's their adult movie studio that they don't use anymore. So, of course, they sent me this random Touchstone movie. Next up, I got Best Picture winner Moonlight on 4K. This is a movie that is a must-watch, a must-own. Consider it won Best Picture, but it's also one of the greatest films of the decade that needs to be appreciated and to be watched. I love this movie, and what more can I say about Moonlight? Next up, I got Ridley Scott's American Gangster with Denzel Washington and Russell Crowe. This is a movie that I've had on Blu-ray for years, but I always hated how bad the quality of this movie was, so now knowing that the 4K is a massive upgrade over the Blu-ray makes me want to go back and rewatch this great movie from Ridley Scott. I feel like this is a movie that if you want to get into some crime, very interesting movie, I think this is the movie you gotta watch. Next up, we got Stephen Sommers' 1999 classic, The Mummy. So I was able to get this on such a great deal, and it was perfect because I wanted to watch this again before the new Jungle Cruise movie that is coming out because of the comparisons these two movies have. This is a classic movie that is so enjoyable. It's not the greatest movie in the world, but is the perfect summer blockbuster film that has everything you want, and Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, so you can't beat that deal. I got another Guillermo del Toro Criterion, and that is The Devil's Backbone. I have never seen this movie, but I have been so curious to check this out. I mean, considering this really creepy poster and this little kid on the front, I have no idea what this movie is about, but considering that Guillermo del Toro has a new movie coming out, hopefully on December 3rd, called Nightmare Alley, I want to be able to check out all of his movies, and I really got to start with a movie like this, The Devil's Backbone. My next pickups are a three-parter, and that is the Fast and Furious movies 2, 3, and 4. I had to get these movies because I rented them, and I didn't realize how much I enjoyed them. Considering I gave most of these movies right here 5s out of 10s, they wouldn't necessarily make the collection, but I really enjoy Fast and Furious so much that I should have just gotten the 8-movie pack of all the Fast and Furious movies, but at this point, might as well buy them separately for all the good deals deals that they were. Next up, we have one of the most underappreciated, not really talked about movies from Steven Spielberg, and that is Minority Report with Tom Cruise. This is such a great movie that undoubtedly deserves a 4K. The whole concept in itself is so interesting and different, and the way things spin and turn around is so awesome. Trying to see if can we really stop crime? Is there a way to go back in time and stop crime, and how that affects the future, and how things just get kind of nuts? And Tom Cruise is excellent as always. So if you haven't checked out Minority Report, I highly suggest that you do so. I got another 3-parter, but this is with Criterion's, and this is Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums, and Fantastic Mr. Fox. All Wes Anderson films that I want to be able to check out and watch again. I've already seen Fantastic Mr. Fox, so it'd be nice to see it in the Criterion. But these 2 other films I have not seen, and I only need Isle of Dogs to finish out my Wes Anderson collection. Wes Anderson has a French Dispatch that's finally coming out this year, which is one of my most anticipated movies of the entire year. And I can't say I'm a Wes Anderson fan if I haven't seen all of his movies and all the special features and all the great stuff that are in the booklets. Next up is a true masterpiece, and that is The Pianist with Adrien Brody. I actually bought a South Korean Blu-ray of The Pianist because there was only a DVD version available in the US, and I bought it for so much money. I ended up selling it for pretty much the same amount because I heard that this Pianist Blu-ray from Shout Factory was coming out, so might as well probably have the more updated version. And this movie is just phenomenal. If you have never seen The Pianist before, it is going to crush you in every way, shape, and form. This is such a sad and dark movie with Adrien Brody giving one of the best performances I have seen of the entire decade of the 2000s. Next up, we got Magnolia. This is another Paul Thomas Anderson film that has a bunch of different storylines intersecting, but some of the storylines intersect and some of them don't, which I thought was very interesting because a movie like this would have every storyline intersect. But the way Paul Thomas Anderson directs this film and has so much great direction for all the cast members, especially Tom Cruise, which I'm a massive fan of, I feel like this movie is such an entertaining, pretty emotional thrill ride that has some strange things going on with the characters. If you can handle a long 3-hour movie, this is the movie to do it. Next up, we got Space Jam on 4K. The only reason why I bought this movie is because I do enjoy Space Jam, and I heard that this 4K was a massive upgrade over the Blu-ray, which was kind of just an upscale DVD. And to be able to see this on 4K, I was actually concerned that this movie wouldn't look as good, but the CGI actually looked better with so much more detail, better color, and it was less noticeable in some ways of the crazy CGI blending in with live action of Michael Jordan. So I was really impressed of this transfer, and if you're a big fan of Space Jam or you just like the movie, this is the best quality possible. Next up, I got The Prestige on 4K. Christian Bale, Hugh Jackman, Scarlett Johansson, and directed by Christopher Nolan. This is a movie I most undoubtedly had to get. Christopher Nolan is easily one of my favorite filmmakers, and The Prestige is a marvelous film. I would go back and rewatch this movie, considering that I love the performances, I love the story, and I love all the different theories that this movie goes through, because there's one or two ways to look at this movie. This movie had an incredible deal, about $22.99, because it is owned by Disney of Touchstone Pictures, which was a former studio of Disney, so that's why this 4K is very expensive to get, and I'm so glad I can finally have The Prestige. Next up is a Coen Brothers film that I've been dying to see for such a long time, and that is Raising Arizona with Nicolas Cage. I cannot wait to check this out. I mean, look at this picture of Nicolas Cage right here. You just want to see the movie now, especially when it's written and directed by the Coen brothers. Joel Coen actually has his own movie coming out that Ethan Coen is not going to be a part of later this year, called The Tragedy of Macbeth. So I'm trying to check out every single Coen brothers film and getting this for such a great deal, which is considered a fantastic movie. So we are now on the very last Blu-ray pickup, and that is the Fantasia 2 pack of Fantasia and Fantasia 2000. So you're probably wondering why I picked this up, and to be honest, it's because this movie is very, very hard to find, and I got a massive deal on eBay and such amazing quality for $23. Most of the time, this movie's going up to $50, maybe $60, $75, and they're probably not going to make a new Blu-ray reissue from Disney. So being able to have these classic films that I really haven't even seen is such a great feeling, and I probably will go on my way to watch these, even though they're on Disney Plus. When you're a physical media collector, you have to get the Blu-ray. Okay guys, so those are all my pickups in the month of July. Let me know down below in the comment section, what was the most surprising pick, what was your favorite pick, and what are some movies that you think that I should be picking up in my collection. Also to note that this will be the final Blu-ray/4K pickups until the month of November, where I will be picking up tons of movies, tons of stuff for the month of November, which is like Black Friday. You got the Amazon Prime Day deals and all that good stuff. If you guys really enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you want to, and ring that notification bell so you never get to miss a new video.